Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the 8th and live episode of Just Doing What We Do. Join myself, Michael, and my guy up there, Anthony, as we talk about our lives, catch up with each other, talk Mountain Dew and gaming, entertainment, technology, and all that kind of good stuff that sticks out to us. If you want to join in the chat with us, make sure you leave a comment below. And more importantly, make sure you like this video, subscribe, please. And once again, join the conversation by joining the chat. Leave a comment on this video or another video around the channel. And yeah, now that I have got all of that done, how are you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing well. I am doing wonderful. It's been a good week. But I'm kind of gonna leave some of that for Sunday. A little bit of it for Sunday. But I'll give some updates in a little bit. But yeah, I'm doing well.
Excellent. Excellent.
So just a little bit of a heads up. I have once again been more or less busy all day. I got home about 5:30, took a shower, and then was making sure I got stuff ready for this. So, here we are.
Very nice, very nice.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I don't know where we should start. So I kind of want to hear about your week cuz I'm looking at the topics and I don't know. I guess I want to hear about your side project. I guess I'll just be pushing.
Um, yeah, you could push. No, I mean my week has been fairly normal, just work, but also putting together, uh, and it's pretty much for the most part done. Um, so I'm starting a side business, um, and I've got a lot of the uh, official, I don't know what to say, what to call it, but like,
Paperwork.
yeah, paperwork. That's a good word for it. All that paperwork stuff. Almost said something else. Filed and uh, put together. Um, the big thing now is because I'll need a bunch of stuff up front to get going. So the big step now is the small business loan, but like name, filed an LLC, business cards are done-ish. Trying to decide what to do with the backside, um, and if there's going to be a website or not. But other than that, um, yeah, it's pretty much, and I mean, it's kind of good to go for the most part. I would call it like 90% official, I
Okay.
guess. Um, I mean, technically, I'm already kind of basically doing what I would be doing. I'm just giving it an official shell now.
Gotcha.
Um, and then hopefully moving beyond what I'm doing currently and expanding what I'm doing currently and opening it up to more uh, clients, basically.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. I mean, obviously
So
it's in the beginning stages. But keep going. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Hello?
know that I'll get
Okay.
you. That was weird.
You're here.
My back. Okay.
You're back.
Um. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'll have that done by the end of this week, but hopefully by the end of next week, it'll be 100% up and going. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is. So yeah, I've been working on that in the background and doing all that, figuring all that out, and
Yeah. That
planning all that out.
that keeps one busy. Yeah. Yeah, work for me has been good. Um I'm trying I don't want to get I'm trying to be mindful to not get too deep into the woods as it were. But things have been improving over time. And this week has been really encouraging. Every day this week, it feels like there's been a step forward in a direction that I've been waiting for years. Um, to the point where I more or less am my goal is to make a list for prep that will then get done throughout the day by people, not me. I still have to take some deliveries. That's just kind of the nature of. Um, we're not sure we have a daytime delivery person to replace me yet. I do think that they are close by. Um, but by and large, we've got, like we just hired 17 people within the past
Oh,
week. Yeah, we've
wow.
hired a lot of people. Like Jeff is basically full on going, okay, I'm doing the thing that I said I didn't want to do for the past couple of years because how that's how you grow. Um,
Yeah.
I want to give him some more credit, but he deserves more credit than how I worded that. But like at the same time, he kind of worded it as such. Like he's like, I'm finally doing the things that people have been telling me to do, but I have been resisting doing, and it's just like, just so
That's
like
good.
we're like this week's been like I said, every day has been like another step forward. Like I'm I was talking with the GM and we were talking about like just kind of what we're thinking and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I would like to handle like more of the paperwork for like kind of the more admin and paperwork stuff for the bar as part of like what I do because like I can do that in social media and then I can kind of stock bar as needed. I can kind of help manage the bar during the day. Um, and then I can
Yeah.
kind of also manage delivery drivers because the first thing I do when I walk in, I can just write down, okay, here's what you guys need to get done today. Um,
Yeah.
so, and he seemed like he actually listened to it. By like, well, I shouldn't. The GM and I were talking about this, and he was like, "I like this idea." Is like, obviously, we'll kind of have to tag team stuff with the bar because like one of the things we're hoping to do longer term down the road is go from just beer to beer and like liquor as well.
Mhm.
Um, but that requires getting a liquor license, and then there's also, at least within the current state laws, you can still get like things like climbing kites, but that requires another license as well. Which climbing kites is the THC infused drink for adults.
Oh,
Yeah. So
interesting.
we could, because that's actually offered through one of the distributors that we've got that we get our beer through right now, and but yeah, we would have to get I think it's like a hemp license or something like that.
Interesting.
So we would have to look into that, and then um, yeah, just a lot of stuff that you kind of have to go. Okay, this is where we want to go. This is what it means now, and this is, or rather, this is where we want to go. This is what the steps we need to kind of take to get there, and then this is where we're at now. Um, and like, oh yeah, like some of my retail experience has come handy here. Get down, Link. Just because like I spent a good portion of the day like kind of figuring out, okay, we're gonna have like, because I ordered a bunch of beer and we've got cider from Jefferson County Cider Works arriving tomorrow, and like, so I've got a beer cooler that we've got, or fridge. Cooler sounds small, it's a fridge, not like a big fridge. It's just like an under counter fridge like you would see at any bar.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
so like I'm like going through, okay, so we've got all of our domestics. Okay, Jeff wants some bottles, which I'm more of a can guy, but like if Jeff wants bottles, we can do some bottles, right? Like,
Yeah.
because me and him were talking, I was like, so what do you want, cans and bottles? He's like, preferably everything bottles. And I just went, no, no, no. Bottles are more expensive by and large. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think that bottles are good, and like how the beer fridges are is they have two wired shelves and then like a bottom like stainless steel bottom of the fridge shelf, right? So it's like, okay, we'll put all the bottles at the bottom, two other shelves will be cans, so it's like, okay, how
Yeah.
much I've got space for these cans on each shelf. How am I gonna fit these in? How many rows do I want of X beer, that kind of stuff. So like
Yeah.
that Hy-Vee work came into play today. But then I basically handed it off to the guy who's kind of our bartender at night right now. And I was like, okay, I want the fridge to look like this in the morning. Go. And
Yeah.
like, I'm scared because the employee who started at the bar today. He is a I'll give him credit. When I was talking to him, he's like, I'm the type of guy that you just need to tell me what to do, and I'll do it. So credit to him. He's self-aware enough to do that, to say that. But at the same time, he's had a history in a couple other positions here that has me just a little nervous that I'm going to come into the shop tomorrow and the beer's not going to be done. But
Yeah.
also, it is a Thursday evening. So, like, it is distinctly possible he won't get anything done just purely because it could be busy.
You want? Yeah.
So, yeah, I we'll see. But good steps are being made. Yeah, steps are being made. I'm optimistic, but cautiously so.
Well, that's good.
Like, there's other stuff that happened that I don't really feel is appropriate to talk about on stream. Just
Yeah.
That's been good for me personally. So, like, it has alleviated some stress off my back.
Well, that's always important.
Yeah. Still a little bit of stress just because life is life, but I think with changes that are happening, like, I feel hopeful again. To the point where today I was like, is this becoming a possibility again? Like, is this going to be a thing? So, again, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know how to transition to a topic. I guess the easiest thing is if you want to keep... I guess I should say there's a possibility. I'll keep it vague to keep the viewers interested. There is a possibility that one of the plans I had previously for this might come back into play as a potential spot in the future. Your screen is frozen and I'm nervous. Oh. Haha! So, I just got a message from Anthony, and he has lost all power. Um, so let's look at the radar. Let's look at the radar in Iowa, shall we? Actually, let's what we're gonna do here. Go like that. Give me 1 second, guys. That's not a good idea. You're gonna have to give me just a second, friends. I am making a... Okay. Almost there. Working on it, friendos. So yeah, he just said yep, it stormed like an hour ago. Storm is long gone and looks beautiful outside. The whole building is now without power. So yeah, so let's just look at weather.com. Now we'll just go Omaha. Hello. Council Bluffs. Hello? There we go. Sometimes I'm not smart, okay? Sometimes I miss things here and there. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, like it looks... Go away. So yeah, he's right around here. So I mean, yeah, it says it looks beautiful outside. It's possible. It's possible that he got like power to his east got knocked out, which could affect it, but I don't know. Here I am discussing weather, and I know very incredibly little about meteorology. It's everything I know about meteorology is everything I know about meteorology. Let me show you this. Here's the screen because I forgot to transition. So much for my anyway. Um, so here's Omaha, right? So yeah, there's Council Bluffs. So that's probably a little too close. I think he's a little farther away. So he's around here-ish, I suspect. He says it's cleared, but so he might be right around here. Anyway, so he's around this area, right? So it's clear, but I suspect he could have power around here. Anyway, once again, speculating on weather when I know jack freaking squat. So here we are, by myself, because Anthony is without power at the moment. So I am suddenly talking about stuff all by myself. So recently I just finished. So this week I've got my phone going. We'll see what Anthony says here. I said rip back, so I might just end up talking to myself with all of you guys because once again, Anthony is without power. We started the stream strong. We started the stream real strong. That's my story. And then the power went out, and here we are. I'm messaging Anthony. So yeah, I guess we'll just talk about stuff as I chat with Anthony on Facebook Messenger. So this week we had I finished this past week. I finished Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It was he's like, yeah, my internet's still up, but that's battery powered. So this week I finished Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I finished it on Saturday night. Frankly, I finished it just in time to cancel my Game Pass before I got charged again. Yeah. So Star Wars Jedi Survivor was so much fun. So Anthony just messaged, as someone who keeps a lot of white noise going, this quiet is a little unsettling, lol. So I just messaged him back, haha, yeah, I remember after the Dare show, because, yeah, I am also guilty of keeping all the white noise going, and when that white noise is going, if that white noise going just kind of keeps me, I shouldn't say sane, but like it just makes it easier to think about things. I said, as I remember after the Dare show, and a Dare show came through Iowa, was that 2 years ago? Something like 2-3 years ago. And when that happened, it was, oh man, I didn't have power for, to be clear, there are people who were without power for way longer and had it way worse than me. I remember distinctly, like, charging my phone at Hy-Vee at work, because I didn't have power at home for a few days. And then I remember for like a day or two, didn't have power for 3 days. That sounds about right. It was like 72 hours, something like that. It was just difficult. I was charging my phone anywhere I could get it, and like, I think I had a hotspot at the time, but being without white noise when you just live with it constantly is so rough. Absolutely ridiculously rough. Yeah, so difficult. And now I'm forced to carry this all by myself because of Anthony's power. Darn that weather. So I'm gonna drink this, which is just Red Bull. Well, it's SodaStream Red Bull, as it were. Yeah. So anyway, where I was going before I was reminded about the Dare Show and decided to tell that story was I just recently, as of Saturday night, finished Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That game is really good. And once again, I'm going to reiterate, playing Elden Ring simultaneously, like on stream and sometimes in my free time, has made Jedi Survivor significantly easier. Now, I could have chosen a little bit harder difficulty. I think there's Grandmaster or something like that, and I didn't go that. I was like right next. My parry windows were so small. But point is, I haven't played on the most. I didn't play it on the most difficult difficulty level. On the hardest difficulty level, as it were. But I did play it on, I'm pretty sure, like the penultimate. So that's a really fun game. And for reference, I beat Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and now Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And the story that it's telling through 1 and 2, and what I believe they have the potential to tell in 3, has a lot. There's a lot to potentially be told, especially if they stray away from the Star Wars tropes of Jedi feels pull of dark side, Jedi pulls back within himself, becomes utter recluse, doesn't know how, becomes utter recluse. Like they did it with Obi-Wan, then they did it with Luke. And they've done it several, if I recall correctly, several other times kind of throughout the franchise in terms of Jedi feels pull of dark side. And then just kind of pulls back and then becomes a recluse and has to become super holy Jedi, And I want to see the third game here really... I would love to see them pull away from the tropes, because really I think what they have the potential here is to let Cal explore more of the dark side, have it cost him something within the story of the game, and then realizes that there is a balance between the light side and the dark side, right? Because within the second game, Cal kind of lets go of this idea of the Jedi Order and all the rules that came with it, right? He is there is the whole romantic thing between him and that's fine. Sorry, I got distracted by Discord for a second. So Cal has already, he hasn't gone well, the Jedi Order is stupid and become evil. Instead, he was like, well, the Jedi Order doesn't exist anymore. I can create my own. And then as part of that, they have now basically adopted Kata, which was Bodhi's daughter, which I won't get into, why Bodhi's daughter's with them. That's story related, and I gotta let you find that out on your own if you haven't figured it out already. They have a real big opportunity to do something with Kata. My personal what I would like to see them do, which probably means we probably won't see them do this, but you never know. I mean, feel free to consult on me for some story, EA. I'd be more than happy to help because the series is really great. But what I would like to see, again, to wrap up my point here, as it were, is I would like to see Cal kind of embrace the dark side. Maybe have it cost him, say, Kata, right? It's effectively his adopted daughter now. Have it cost him Kata or maybe Marin, I suppose, and then have him not have him pull back and once again become like some hermit kind of guy, but actually kind of realize that there's value in the old ways of the Jedi Order, but that there's like ultimately a balance that has to be played because I think the Star Wars universe in general strives for a balance between good and evil. It's really any good storytelling strives for a balance between good and evil because you can't have a reason for a good force to move within a story without an evil equally powerful equally powerful force. No pun intended. So it's I'm excited to see where they go. It does make me laugh seeing all the Star Wars Outlaws ads, like the first ever open world Star Wars game. I'm like, open world in so much as like Far Cry and all those Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, etc. are open world games. Like they're open world games, but so is if you ask me, I certainly think that Star Wars Jedi Survivor is absolutely more of an open world game. It could fit more of a Metroidvania style game, I guess, honestly, given the map system, the upgrade system, and kind of how it does things. But for me, Survivor is way more of a great open world Star Wars game than Outlaws is, judging by the reviews I'm seeing, where it's just seemingly it's a decidedly average game. So that is that's kind of where we're at there. Once again, if you are new to the stream, if you're just tuning in, as it were, I was joined earlier by Anthony, and then the power went out at his apartment. Probably because, if you see here, Anthony lives somewhere on the westish side of Iowa. I think he's in the Council Bluffs area, but I don't fully remember where, because I don't remember things super easily that aren't super key to my life. And to be fair, he is key to my life, but I'm not a locations guy. I'm a put it in maps and go. But anyway, he's kind of on this side of western side of Iowa, and he says it's clear where he is at, but I suspect that the weather took out the power at a power station. So that's why I am currently doing this all by myself. So let me look at my next thing I was going to talk about this week, because I guess since we're here, I might as well just talk what I was going to talk about. And I'm going to drink a little bit more of this. So I'll briefly talk about this, because I'll be honest, I cannot play the video on YouTube because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But a YouTube artist or band, I suppose, I subscribe to is Martin Miller. And he has he is a German guitarist and vocalist who has a studio band that from what I've seen on YouTube, they occasionally tour, but by and large, they just do stuff in studio. I suspect they have their own albums, honestly. I have seen some live videos, but very rarely do I see live covers of the stuff that they've put on his YouTube. Anyway, so last night I was perusing YouTube while I was kind of wrapping up stuff. Kind of was working on stuff for this episode, but clearly all the work I put into today's episode was for naught, but it will come in handy, I promise. Sorry, cat's being a cat, and I get distracted easily. So anyway, Martin Miller and his session band just dropped a new cover, like last night, of John Mayer's Vultures. And I tell you what, I love John Mayer's Vultures. His the live version he did from Where the Light Is, is one of my all-time favorite live performances of like John Mayer. Actually, really, Where the Light Is maybe, in my opinion, it is an S tier live performance by any band. Yeah, honestly, I'll stick to that. Is an S tier performance. And always worth a watch. Like, sometimes it's not. It used to be my absolute go-to on weekends. I was like, I don't know what I want to watch. I'll just put on Where the Light Is again. Like, always a winner. So when I saw that this cover popped up on Martin Miller's page, I had to listen to it. And like I said, it is a phenomenal cover. Martin Miller's done so many phenomenal covers. In fact, it actually made me go down kind of a rabbit hole of just all the covers he did last night. And he has so many good covers. So this is my way of telling everyone out there on the internets, if you haven't heard of Martin Miller, do yourself a favor. Go listen to Martin Miller. Look him up on YouTube or on iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, whatever, YouTube Music, whatever they're calling it. It's available, I promise you, and it's worth a listen or few or several days, for hours, for as long as you want. I highly recommend it. So next, we're going to do a little bit of just doing what you do, so you like wrestling talk here, because once again, it is all me here. If you're just tuning in, this episode started out strong, and I was with Anthony, and we were chatting about stuff, and then the power went out at his apartment, and well, it's really hard to live stream and that kind of stuff when you have no power. He claims the weather around his place is fine, but I suspect, and I believe him, I fully believe him, but once again, I suspect weather took out power east of his apartment, and it is what it is. So, once again, we're here, just me. So, if you want to make sure I'm not talking by myself, to myself, like a crazy person, make sure you leave a comment below, talk to me in the chat, and then please, to help me feel validated, like this video, and would you please subscribe to our channel, please? Because we would really appreciate that. And hopefully we get Anthony back here at some point, but I strongly suspect that this episode is just going to be the solo show. Not to be confused with Solo Sikoa. So, I guess the next thing I was going to talk about is we're going to talk about AEW All In 2024. To be honest, I had initially only planned to kind of try to quickly summarize this for Anthony, because I know wrestling is not necessarily his thing, but it is mine. I love pro wrestling. Fun trivia fact about moi. I used to love pro wrestling when I was a kid. I don't remember at what age I fell in love with it specifically, but I remember, doing the DX suck it chop to some bullies. I remember learning how to defend myself purely watching WWE. I once got in a fight with someone, and I smashed their head into a locker because they pissed me off and they said something mean and they were bullying. So I put their head into a locker, and I kind of got in trouble, but I didn't get in that much trouble. And then one time someone was fighting a little too hard, so I gave them a tombstone. They're fine. Nothing bad happened to them. Gratefully, I had learned just enough to protect their neck and head. But they didn't like it, and I don't blame them. So I've learned all of my self-defense and fighting skills through watching pro wrestling. So that tells you the kind of person that I am. But nonetheless, I used to watch pro wrestling, and then I stopped watching when I went to college. I don't have a great answer. I think the easy answer is I just wanted to be cool to people, and wrestling wasn't cool. So, life lesson, be yourself, kids. Don't worry about being cool to other people. Your cool is cool to someone else. And I promise you, you'll care more about the people that think you're cool than the people that don't think you're cool. All right? All right, life lesson done? Cool. So I used to watch a lot of wrestling. Then I stopped. And then a few years back, honestly, it was while I was going through treatment for testicular cancer, I fell back in love with wrestling. I was watching it all on TV, and then I think basically when there's the May after I got done with all my treatments, WWE Raw came to Des Moines, Iowa, and I went, and Cody Rhodes had just returned from AEW, and him and Seth Rollins were feuding at the time, and in Des Moines they did a fight through the stands, and I was like 20 feet away, maybe at most, from both Cody and Seth Rollins. More importantly, Seth Rollins because he's an Iowa boy like me, but also Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes he grinded and grinded and grinded and learned and worked hard, and it paid off for him. So I'm big fans of both of them, and so they did a fight in the crowd when I was there, and that just solidified my love for just re-solidified my love. Frankly, it like hardened it like steel. Like wrestling is like it's one of the great loves of my life. Like there are things that are much more important in the hierarchies. Like my son is well above it. My work is important because if I want to go to cool things like live shows, I need to do work. So I love wrestling, and that's why I do that. So I actually just got a message from Anthony. He just asked me if I'm still on stream, and I said I am. I have just been talking to you lovely people on the interwebs, or I've just been talking to myself like a crazy person. Either way, it works. But once again, yeah, so I fell in love with wrestling, and I am a big fan of both WWE and AEW. But confession, I follow WWE way more closely than I follow AEW. However, I do tend to buy, I'd say like 90% of the AEW pay-per-views just because I follow AEW through What Culture Wrestling and through Fightful Select and just, lots of different wrestling YouTube channels. So I keep abreast of the wrestling of the AEW going ons, and I follow WWE quite. I don't want to say religiously because I really don't follow it religiously, but I follow it pretty consistently. Like I try to watch Raw and SmackDown as they happen. In fact, if you've been following stuff on this channel, occasionally I even do things like So You Like Wrestling, So yeah. So let's talk about AEW All In 2024 while I wait to see if Anthony's going to rejoin because I see he's kind of back on Discord. So let's talk AEW All in 2024. I bought the pay-per-view. I thought it was a very, very fun pay-per-view even. And yeah. So I won't. I'm not skilled at doing full recaps, but I will go through the card. I'm not going to go through the pre-show stuff. The only thing you really need to know from the pre-show was that Jamie Hayter returned in front of basically front of a hometown crowd on the pre-show, and then I believe last night on Dynamite she began feuding with. I think it was Mercedes Moné. I don't know. I did not watch Dynamite last night. So she returned. Then the show started off with Pac and Blackpool, the Blackpool Combat Club, featuring with a. See, I've never done this kind of pro wrestling recap kind of stuff before, so I don't know what I'm doing. I just like to react to wrestling. So you had Pac in the Blackpool Combat Club So you had Pac and Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, who were representing the Blackpool Combat Club. They defeated the Patriarchy, the Bang Bang Gang, and the House of Black in a ladder match for the AEW World Trios titles. This was a fun match to start the show. The Patriarchy is quietly one of my favorite things in wrestling. Like, Christian Cage just knows how to be a dirtbag, but he also knows how to kind of take the piss out of things. So I loved this match. It had a lot of great spots. I don't remember a whole lot of them at this point. But I mean, it was a ladder match with 12 total people. Was it Juice Robinson, Rock Hard? Let me look. Who's Bang Bang Gang? Juice Robinson, Austin. Yeah, it's Juice Robinson, who's like Rock Hard Juice, or what? Rock Hard Juice. That man took a rope bump directly to his groinal region. That I don't know if that man will be able to have babies ever again. It looked painful. That's one spot I remember very clearly. Nick Wayne took a chokeslam through a table. Nice. So Anthony just told me that his power's back. So I will continue kind of recapping stuff until I get him back on Discord. Okay. 1 second. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, maybe.
Can you hear me?
1 second. Okay, there we go. I hear you. I heard something. Check. Damn it, why can't I hear you? So it's really funny because I can't hear you, but there's clearly audio coming through on OBS, which is weird. I still can't hear you, buddy. Let me voice and video output. Okay. Well, if I just do it like this. Can you talk? Okay, you're talking now, so I got you through one way. Let me switch back to this. Talk.
User. talking.
Yay! User
Check
error
1,
fixed.
2. Check 1, 2.
All right, you're back. Now,
I knew you could do it.
well,
I'm back.
You are back now. Let me. By the way, everyone, you can hear him, but you can't see him yet. So give me just a hot second to get some. There we go, and then, woo, we're back into a split screen view. Hey.
Yeah.
So I have been carrying
That
things
was weird.
all by myself.
What did I miss?
Well.
Yeah, we were out.
Talk.
I was just sitting here, and then all of a sudden there was no power, and I was like, "Well, that's weird." We had a little bit of rain like an hour ago, and it's beautiful outside right now. No power, and it was only off for like half an hour, not even.
Huh.
But yeah. So, I went outside and hung out with some neighbors. Because
might as well. You had nothing else to do.
It's I live in a complex of 4 buildings, and I want to say all of them have 6 apartments in them. And I would assume it would only make sense that we're all on the same part of the grid. So whatever happened to all of us, and we were all like, we don't know what else to do. So yeah, I got chocolate chip cookies though.
Nice. You're also awkwardly out of sync, but I'm not sure if there's anything I can do about that.
Well, I'm only showing 48 milliseconds. I'm gonna try and fix it on my side. Well, I turned off my camera and it made my internet angry. Because that makes sense.
Okay, I saw double of my face
yet?
for a second.
Am I in sync yet?
That would be a hard no.
Oof. I don't know then. Because I'm showing all green on my side.
It just might be is what it is.
Which means that
it could be on my side. It could be something completely. It could be something different. I'm not gonna stress out too much about it at this point. So, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I'm only showing like 50 milliseconds of latency.
Yeah, I've got good. I've got only 15 milliseconds according to Discord. So.
I mean, it is Discord, so it could just be Discord.
Yeah.
It's a great app. It's a wonderful app that works all of the time perfectly. And never has any mistakes ever.
Never ever. Oh, okay. So basically all I did was talk about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And about
I wanted to hear about that, but I don't want to make you talk about it a second time.
Well, so actually, wow, I was about to talk about AEW stuff. Because I'll give you the recap of what the internet got to hear me talk about by myself.
I didn't leave you on purpose, I swear.
I know you didn't. The internet got kept abreast of your situation as I would read the messages back and forth and explain that yes, it is awkward to not have any white noise, because I remember from the Dare show and not having any white noise for like 3 days, and it was rough.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. As I adjust. So basically, I told people that they should go listen to Martin Miller, because he just dropped a cover of John Mayer's Vultures, and like this guy's every one of his covers they're like S tier covers as far as I'm concerned.
I listened to a little bit of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll have to listen to more of his stuff to really get a feel for it, but I've never actually heard of him. So
He's got. So after I listened to that, I then listened to their Tears for Fears covers of Head Over
Ooh.
Heels,
Okay.
which was. They also have a couple '80s medleys that are just ah. Um. So I highly recommend Martin Miller to most people who, pretty much anyone who likes just good cover rock. Like, because I like listening to the originals, but like sometimes it's just nice to listen to good covers because it's someone's different. So just a little bit of a different interpretation, and there's something enjoyable about that. Um,
Yeah.
then I talked Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which yeah, again, I thought it was a really, 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 really good game. They have an opportunity to do something that I don't think gets done nearly enough in Star Wars, which is so within throughout. Get down, Link. Throughout the story, so like in this game, they make it pretty clear that like Cal kind of goes, okay, the Jedi Order just doesn't exist anymore. I don't necessarily need to hold myself to all like the same standards, the same practices that the Jedi Order did. Like, because he has an emotional attachment to one of the side character, not side character. She's a actually really cool character from the first game, and then rejoins in the second game.
Okay.
Um, she's like, uh, I'm trying to remember the actual name of her race, but they're basically force wielding witches.
Um.
Something sisters,
Yes.
night sisters,
Oh.
maybe something
I,
like that.
yeah, the Night Sisters from.
Let me look
You
it
know
up.
what I know it starts with a D, and my brain is going to a certain word from a show that I never even watched, and it's starting to irritate me.
Okay,
Because I
so
know it's not the Dothraki.
she is a night sister.
They're from Dothamir, I think
Yep,
is what they're from.
yep. She is a Dathomirian night sister who lived on her homeworld of Dathomir during the Imperial era. Um, a survivor of General Grievous's massacre of the Night Sisters during the Clone Wars. So she like has an attachment to Cal, the main character in this game, and like for me, it's one of those things where like I don't always roll my eyes at like, well, you gotta have romantic interest, but and this one did not make me roll my eyes. Actually, by the time they finally kind of decided that they wanted to be together, it was kind of like a finally moment. Um, so like in this game, basically he kind of comes to that realization of sorts that he's like, yeah, I don't have to like follow all the same Jedi Order code. I can have a emotional attachment and still be a light side Jedi and still care about the things that the Jedi's cared about, right?
It's almost like that was a dumb rule.
Yes. Um but what I like about it is that at towards the end of the game, Cal also because of emotional attachment and that kind of stuff, right? He begins to feel the pull of the dark side of the force. Like it's very clear at the end of the game, like you are like what's the word I'm looking for? You're actively channeling the dark side of the force, right? Like you're not doing like force lightning and that kind of stuff, but like you're like normal like slowed time down because this is my force power thing like turns into I'm not gonna slow time down, but I'm just gonna become an absolute powerhouse and like destroy anything that gets in my way. um so
Okay.
he's channeling the dark side at the end towards the end of the game. um
Interesting.
because like he's trying to protect Marin and he cares about the people around him and that kind of stuff, right? So, and most of the time in the Star Wars universe, and you probably are going to be a little bit more well versed in this than me. It seems like every time a Jedi channels the dark side a little bit, they go, "Oh no, I've channeled the dark side," and then they become this hermit, and then they hide away. you know,
For the most part, there are some exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, you are correct.
where like I feel like they have they have the opportunity with this game to basically let him go, to let him, in my opinion, to more fully embrace the dark side of the game, of himself, right? In the third game, than have him actually catastrophically lose something. I have There's a character that gets introduced towards the end of Jedi Survivor that is related to, boy, I don't know how to explain it without, it's kind of a big spoiler spot. Um, but basically, they more or less adopt someone.
Okay.
So they basically become a parent of sorts for this girl, and like it's my opinion that in the third game, what would be nice to see, at least story wise, right, is Cal embraces the dark side of his force. Something tragically happens to either Marin or this daughter that they basically adopt. Then that ultimately causes him to not pull back and become a hermit, but to actually find the balance between the dark and the light side of the force, to actually be more of a, not necessarily a gray Jedi as it were, but to just be a Jedi that does, like, that actually seems to care and doesn't have to follow a strict code, or he's like building his own code. I just think they have so much potential with this third game. So I'm very excited because they have announced that there will be a third game.
What was the first game?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. I mean, it's entirely possible that you're correct, that he could explore some elements. There are some very well known, not to get too nerdy, but there are some very well known Jedi who learned to channel a portion of the dark side slash emotions in general, specifically his rage, and he came up with an entire lightsaber form for it, and then didn't teach it to anybody because he didn't think anybody was capable of controlling it like he could. Actually, I think he taught it to a couple people. But yeah. So you could be right.
So yeah,
I should-
yeah, you really should play them. Like they do have. Like, what's nice about the games is that they do have difficulty modes, right? You can basically say it like I'm here. You can set it to like I'm here for the story, and like you get really big parry windows, and like the combat's not. It's not overly difficult. I remember playing through it on that difficulty the first time and then getting bored because it was a little too easy, and then I played other games and then I came back and eventually beat the game on a higher difficulty, and then I did not play Fallen Order on, or Survivor, excuse me. I didn't play Survivor on. I saw it was like the most difficulty. Oh, I remembered the word earlier when I was describing it. Like I didn't play on the highest level of difficulty, but like just
The one below it.
right below it. Grandmaster is the highest difficulty.
Okay.
And I did Jedi Master. Or Jedi Knight, whatever it's called, the penultimate. So, and again, I thought playing Elden Ring simultaneously with this helped a lot, like a lot, because playing Elden Ring helped so much during the time, just because like as you were listening to me last week, like it just became easier to grind some bosses because I was able to more easily recognize patterns, or frankly, the patterns are just more forgiving sometimes. So,
Yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense.
But it also makes me laugh when I see the ads for Star Wars Outlaws as a result too, because like the ads are like, "It's the first open world Star Wars game." I'm like, not maybe open world by your definition, but like this is
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor's pretty open world. Like, you could make an argument that maybe it's more of a, because it still has a linear story. It still has a linear story path, right? You could make an argument that's not the same, but like, bruh, I spent like 70 something hours in that game, and most of that was like getting extra items and extra force points and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like,
and yeah, and yeah, it depends on how you define open world, because technically a lot of your MMOs are technically open world, and there is a Star Wars MMO. So, is it the first open world Star Wars game, or is it just the first Star Wars game like that?
yeah. So
Not to split hairs, but
yeah. So that was most of it. And then I was going to start running down AEW. I gave people kind of a reintroduction as to why I like wrestling so damn much. Basically going back to being a kid, and then actually kind of being how I learned to defend myself in some regards. Yeah. Yep. So I won't necessarily reiterate that. I'll just but yeah, so I was gonna start recapping all in, but then you came back, so
yeah. So yeah, talk about the AEW thing.
Oh, where do I start? Because when I thought it was gonna be by myself, I was like, I guess I'll just I won't recap the car. I don't need to necessarily do a full recap of every match, but I can at least talk about every match. But if it's just you, I guess really I would talk about my favorite moments. I mean, first of all, boy, give me a second while I regather my thoughts. So I guess I'll just kind of start off with like I'll start from the bottom down, I suppose, or no, not bottom down. The main event. I thought my favorite moment, my personal favorite moment from the event, and I think it sometimes encapsulates one of my favorite things about wrestling. But you don't see it super often, but it makes it super cool when you do see it. So you got this guy who's been wrestling for, how long has he been wrestling? Let's find out. Bryan Danielson. Bryan Daniels. Yeah, or Daniel Bryan. So how long has he been wrestling? He began his professional wrestling career in 1999. So he's been wrestling since 1999. And he was initially a WWE champion. So that was about 10 years ago at this point, legitimately. Oh, excuse me. And he had to retire for like neck and head injuries, basically. And then he probably, and ultimately over time, he was healing up, and he was with WWE, but WWE was kind of like, we don't want you to get re-injured and, get hurt and we don't want you to necessarily be paralyzed in the ring, and for us to be like, well, we shouldn't have let you do that because you had neck injuries, right? Like, so he wanted to do that, and he had probably healed enough, and then he had gotten doctor's clearance. They're like, hey, you should be able to do this, but WWE was just going to be careful because they just didn't want that. So, yeah. But he wanted to continue it, so he went to AEW, and he like restarted his wrestling career, and he's been wrestling for quite like 2-3 years for AEW now. And he is, for reference, he is 43 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, like, he is, like, now, you can wrestle into, like, your 50s and that kind of stuff. Like, legitimately can do that. So like, I'm losing the track. Long story short, he's in the main event. It's an absolutely grueling match. And violent as professional wrestling is. Taking bumps on his head, like getting cut open, all this kind of, just the kind of stuff that makes a violent wrestling match seem violent, right? And this match is for the AAU. I pressed all the wrong buttons. 1 second. I'm back. They were wrestling this match for the AEW World Championship. Like, this is the top prize in AEW. And this match was stipulated as basically belt versus career. So if the champion Swerve had retained, Bryan Danielson would have retired, was the story they were playing at. Okay. Bryan Danielson's family is in the audience. Like, he's married to Brie Bella. You wouldn't know it. She's a former WWE diva. And they have got a daughter and a son, and they were ringside at the match. And it was, I'm not doing it justice. It was really, for pro wrestling, felt like cinematic masterpiece. Like, at one point, Swerve is like kicking Bryan Danielson just in the chest repeatedly, and he's just eating it and like looking at his family and like going, I love you. I love you. I love you so much. 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 And like not selling and amping himself up. And then he like does a running knee to this guy. And it was just like as far as the storytelling is it was just so good. And then in the end, Bryan Danielson ends up winning the belt. So he's not retiring, which is awesome, because this guy, I don't think he's going to retire till he's going to be retiring from full-time wrestling because his daughter is 7. He was like, when my daughter is 7, I want to be retiring from full-time wrestling. So, and he's also said that he has to get neck surgery by the end of the year. So I suspect he's going to be dropping it in November. I think that's when Wrestle Dream is. So he wins this match. He's bloody, all this kind of stuff. He goes to the press conference, and he's got his daughter in his lap, and then he's just this gentle dad. He's talking to her, and one reporter asks like a question, are you enjoying being flown around the world on someone else's dime? And she like says something. It's like, it's okay, baby girl. You can just speak up a little bit. She's like, yeah. And it's those things in wrestling that kind of are so cool to me, where it's just like this big, like, dramatic, like sometimes super testosterone filled, manly men, and then they just come back and it's like, nope, still just a gentle person behind it, and it's those cool things I like to see. And then, just also the things of wrestling, it's just sometimes you just see just the most ridiculous things that can only work in wrestling. Like the other match I would talk about would be that I would have talked about would have been Will Ospreay, who is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world, period. Will Ospreay wrestling MJF for what was initially called, or at the time of the match was called, the AEW American title, but before the match was called the AEW International title. And MJF basically renamed it for the heat which is what you call when you're trying to get boos, people to dislike you in the audience. When you're trying to get cheap heat, he basically renamed it from the International to the American title, because they were going to All In London, rename it from International American, just go on to the full Americana mode. Like, he entered his match wearing like a American flag top hat and kind of the Apollo Creed like shorts and jacket, and then and then after he took those off, he had like his wrestling it's not tights, because tights are when they're full length, but when it's basically just underwear, right? I don't remember what it's called. But it was actually based off someone Lex Luger who had like kind of a similar heel turn. Wasn't as good, but similar heel turn. So he had like this Americana Americana bottom. It was, and then he drops down and they do this thing. It's like MJF. So he goes like MJ and then drops down on his knees when they get to F, and when he did that, they had this big American flag and streamers just drop down from like the screen. So it's like this, like super duper Americana, the most ridiculous thing ever. And I was laughing my butt off because it's just, it's meant to be funny, or it's meant, you're either laughing or you're booing. And I was laughing. And then they just had like just an absolutely just an athletic match. Like, I don't know how else to put it other than like just doing stuff that you just kind of go and you go, one thing goes wrong. So I just love that kind of stuff. It was like basically the pre-show started at 11 a.m. on Sunday, and then it all finished at like 4 or 5. So like it was, I was watching it on my phone basically as soon as we left church, because as soon as we left, I was just like, okay, I've bought this pay-per-view. I'm going to start streaming on my phone. I'm just going to watch it on my phone. So it was a lot of fun. I'm not doing it any justice, but like, I gotta get better. It's just a lot of, I don't know how else to describe it other than it's a lot of fun watching overly dramatized things. And then like, it's kind of a combat sport. So like, there are people really getting their chest chopped. There, like, some hits like actually hurt, like you can't like dropping someone high on their head and shoulders. Like, you can't, like, there's no getting around that. It hurts, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for as fake as it is, you still have to be a full athlete to do it.
Yeah. The best word I like to use is it's predetermined, right? The outcome is predetermined, not unlike a movie, your favorite movie.
Yeah.
It's just the fun of leading into that, and like they're real athletic moves. They're real.
Oh yeah,
that stuff hurts. Like, I don't want to get my chest chopped.
Right? Like, even and
I mean, for reference, you've watched. We again. This is not news to anyone. We both like Rooster Teeth. You remember the Let's Play where Jeremy, or it was the extra live stream. Jeremy and like Alfredo and some of them got chest chopped by Xavier Woods, who is a member of the WWE, but he was out at the time because his Achilles got blown up in a match. So like, what did he do? He went on stream and chopped the crap out of their chests.
Yep. Yeah, it was. That was. I remember that. It's It's a full contact sport.
Yes. And it was just, it's a lot of fun. Like, the TV shows, like, pay-per-view is one thing. Like, I don't blame people for not necessarily going, I didn't want to buy, pay like $50 or something. Because, like, I paid $50 for it. But at the same time, it's not just I only watch it once. Like, it is digital. I can watch it multiple times. So, like, I have that. It's not like the olden times of pay-per-view, where if you wanted to save a pay-per-view, you were pulling out that VHS tape, baby. So I don't know. There's a lot of fun, and there were, women's match. Mariah May and Toni Storm was it was enjoyable to watch. There's blood in that one too. Like they were telling their story in their own right. Like it was a lot of fun. So, I think I have been talking a lot. So I'm going to give you just some time to talk about the stuff that you've been doing.
I mean, in terms of entertainment, I got an itch the other day to go back to the Marvel TV portion of the cinematic universe. Um, because I saw a clip from the Hawkeye show, and I was like, that looks interesting. And I'd seen stuff, and I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll give it a try. I'll put it on in the background, whatever. Hawkeye was actually decent. I enjoyed it. Um, and it would be a great origin story for, um, I don't know, the new Hawkeye character, the replacement or the young Avenger Hawkeye, whatever she's going to be called. I don't even know. Um, and then yeah, decided. Well, that was only 6 episodes long. We got done with that, and I was like, well, Daredevil was always a good character, despite the movie. Daredevil as a character is good, and I've always enjoyed the smaller, like the Spider-Man, the Daredevil, that whole group.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, sure, I'll watch it, and I think I forget 4 or 5 episodes in, and it's actually pretty good so far. So they're they touch on a lot of his origin in flashbacks, and he doesn't have the suit yet because it comes at the end of season 1.
Okay.
But
So this is
I'd
the Charlie Cox Daredevil then?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. And I think there's a little bit of crossover. I think one of the episodes mentioned Punisher. I think it crosses over with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, which and I watched Jessica Jones.
All those
I
Netflix
think
Marvel
short.
shows crossed over a little bit.
Yeah, I think I watched Jessica Jones right when it came out, and I actually enjoyed Jessica Jones as well. So, and who knows, maybe I'll watch Moon Knight next.
Yeah, I remember watching Punisher back in the day and enjoying that. I never watched Daredevil. I was excited to see him return just because I like he's the best Daredevil that like according to the internets. Because once again, I haven't seen that much Daredevil. Like it's just one of those superheroes I never
I don't know.
got into. But like the internet was like, yeah, this is the best version of Daredevil. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm down with that. But really, I was more excited that also they is part of the like. I remember part of the announcement was that yeah, John Bernthal is going to be coming back as Punisher, and then just seeing Charlie Cox show up and his Daredevil show up, and that Spider-Man was like, okay, because I love like the Punisher was low key one of my favorite Marvel Netflix shows.
Hmm.
So I'm excited. I'll be excited when Marvel brings those back.
Yeah. Speaking of, we haven't talked about this yet. Uh, and it's kind of old news at this point. And I was gonna share a video with you. I'll have to find that again. Talking about uh Marvel's choice in casting for an upcoming character and the return of an actor.
I kind of thought we talked about this on stream.
Did we? I don't remember. I think we
could be-
mentioned it.
We mentioned it. I'm not. I guess maybe we didn't go into full detail, but like, I don't know. My opinions haven't changed too much, other than I saw a recent report of how much they paid said
Ooh,
how much they paid said actor, and I went. I mean, I'd have a hard time turning that much money down too, but it
yeah.
doesn't necessarily make me feel any better.
I think he'll do well. I think. Well, okay. If what is it? Phase 4. Granted,
Phase 4.
I am. I totally understand why everybody's burned out about Marvel. I mean, it's a long running franchise, and there have been some hit or miss portions of it. Also, I'm not entirely totally happy about some of the casting choices for the upcoming Fantastic Four.
I haven't even seen some of the casting choices for that, honestly.
Don't get me wrong, I love Pedro Pascal. He's a great actor. He's not Reed Richards. I don't see it. I could be wrong, but I don't see it.
Hmm.
Especially not after John Krasinski. That's gonna be my Reed Richards. I'm sold on that one.
I
And that
don't.
lasted all of like
30 seconds.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. I'll be honest. I don't have any strong opinions on Fantastic Four. Like, I'm excited to see how if they can do it right.
See, that's the other thing is that I was also a big, or have been a big Fantastic Four fan. Fantastic Four was kind of my favorite portion of the Marvel Universe. And so the first couple movies were not the worst thing in the world. I never saw the other one with Michael B. Jordan that I heard terrible things about. Yeah. Inhumans ended up flopping.
Yeah.
It's just been
Well, that was right. I was thinking of that during like the TV when you're telling me like Daredevil. I was like, yeah, like, yeah. Like I'm just trying to think like TV shows. The last Marvel TV show I watched was Captain America and Winter.
oh yeah, mm-hmm.
No, was it Captain America and Winter Soldier?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah,
That one was good.
that was good. I remember it was, and then we had WandaVision. That was good.
WandaVision was good. I actually enjoyed Agents of Shield. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. I haven't watched it, but like obviously X-Men '97 has been a hit for. Uh-oh. Hey, can you solo run this for like 30 seconds while I go close the windows in my car?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you should go do that.
I'll be right back.
So let's see. X-Men '97. Ooh, I think it's rating. Um, yeah, I think someone's getting the storm that we got or that I got earlier, and now he's rolling his windows up because that'd be a good idea. Yeah, I haven't watched any of X-Men '97. I should do that. Um, animated series. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not sold on Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards. Some of their shows have been all right. Some of the bigger name shows have been good. I've enjoyed them. And getting into the smaller shows, they're actually not bad. But yeah, Marvel burnout is a real thing, and it'll be interesting to see what they do in Phase 4. Because it could be more of the same, or it could be new and fresh. We'll see what Feige has up his sleeve, but I'm... Oh, look who's back!
Well, they can't see me. They just see you. All right,
Well,
now they can
yeah.
see me too, with a new shirt.
And
If that's-
a little wet.
Oh, just a little bit, if that's any indication.
I surmised to the crowd that that's what you were doing. That you were getting the weather that I had gotten a few hours ago, and that your windows were open.
I mean, my windows are like always open, just because. Hey, internet, guess what? I don't have AC in my car, so I rely on yay old 4 windows down drive air conditioning, baby. But yeah, what were you talking about?
Well, I was talking about my thoughts on what Phase 4 could be, and looking up the X-Men. I haven't watched X-Men '97.
It reportedly, like, everything I've said was like it was kind of return to form, I guess, for like kind of the TV shows. And apparently it was really well directed, all that kind of good stuff. Like it felt like the original cartoon. I think that was the other part of the thing. So like if you like
Yeah.
the original X-Men, X-Men 97, you'll like this. So, yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how Phase 4 goes. There's a lot of potential, but it could also just be more of the same Marvel burnout.
Yeah.
Oh, I still need to see Loki season 2.
Yeah. I saw the first couple episodes of Loki season 1, and then I never just got to finish it because it was right around that time that like they just kept announcing more TV stuff, and then I was also just kind of getting busy too, and I just kind of went, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I will watch the movies, and then the movies
Right.
started underperforming. Excuse me.
Really, at this point, the only important Marvel character is Deadpool.
He's Marvel Jesus.
I am Marvel Jesus. I need to watch that again. It's such a good movie.
I just can't wait for them to release it on digital, because I don't want to go to the theater a third time. I just want to. I mean, I either want to privateer it or I'm gonna wait till it comes out on digital, and I will just watch like Free Guy and Deadpool 2 and Deadpool 1, and while I wait.
Free Guy was good.
Free Guy did have our first intro to Chris Evans being willing to curse on camera as kind of a side, a parallel to his Captain America character.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, all right, here's a random hot take. Speaking of Chris Evans and movies and TV, I have not seen the new Snowpiercer TV show, but I have seen the original movie, and really, that's all you need to see, because who needs the TV show? The movie had such a good cast; it was so good. Go watch it.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to, because that's drawing a complete blank. I've not seen the TV show nor the movie.
I haven't seen the TV show, but the movie, I watched the movie long before the TV show came out. But it's Chris Evans, Ed Harris, John Hurt, and it's
Okay.
a good movie.
Might be worth a watch sometime. Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking about all the good movies Chris Evans has been in, like Scott Pilgrim.
It's been a
Speaking
while
of
since I watched Scott Pilgrim. But,
Right.
like, that's also it's a long movie to take on. Because it's, like, 2.5, 2 3/4 hours.
Yeah.
So, like, I say this as someone who puts on long-form YouTube content and, like, just works through it, right? But, like, movies are a different beast sometimes for me, unless I put on like a director's commentary. Like if I don't have the director's commentary on, like my brain's like, okay, I have to watch the movie. But then like 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever, I'm just like,
Yeah.
like I'm
Something
fine
else needs
doing
to be
it, but like yeah, or like you just need to be like, or I need to be in the mood to be like, okay, tonight I'm watching a movie, and that movie is going to be one of these or this movie, you know. Like I've been really itching to rewatch Dune and Dune 2 lately, just because I'm not sure why, but I just want to.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best movie adaptation,
Well, yes.
or it's the best silver screen adaptation. Well, I don't know. I really liked the miniseries.
I've never seen the miniseries. I know of the David Lynch movie, and
That's a classic movie. It holds a special place in all Dune fans' heart. Special is the word you're It's a very special place.
yeah.
It's a
So
terrible movie.
yeah, like I've been kind of wanting to watch those, but like also like sometimes to find time is to yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say sometimes to find it is hard, but I've also seen those movies enough that I can kind of put them on and just like do other things.
Yeah.
But
Background noise.
I'm kind of in the mood to be like, I want to watch and just I want to sit down and watch a movie. I don't know if I'm just transitioning to that kind of era where if I'm putting a movie on, like I'm focusing on it with maybe something a little bit on the side, but I don't know. Because once again,
Yeah.
I still love director's commentaries, and if I get a director's commentary, I can get anything done. I will legit listen to the commentaries of Deadpool 1 and 2 over and over just because like they're just enough entertaining, but they're also just a little bit educational, and you can absolutely just do stuff in the background.
Yeah. I've never been a commentary guy.
I love it, but it also probably says something as to why I'm more of the creative / director, producer kind of type. Like I like understanding how they see things. Actually, frankly, still to this day, some of the most if you ever get in the mood to watch commentaries or listen to commentaries and you have some of them available, I actually highly recommend like every Marvel movie that the Russo brothers did. So that was like they started with Winter Soldier, I believe, was their first one, and then obviously they had Endgame and Infinity War. Civil War was another one they did. Maybe it was just those four they did, I think, really. But like those four, they did director commentaries for those four movies, and they are, to this day, some of the most informing. I won't I don't want to necessarily say educational, because I don't think you can listen to those directors' commentaries and like necessarily always. I don't necessarily. Maybe educational is a fair term for it too, I suppose. But like they do a very good job of explaining storytelling, how they see storytelling, how they view story writing, and even how they view the writing and the directing together. Like legit some of my favorite commentaries to listen to. If I'm wanting to feel like I'm learning something, or feel like I have the potential to learn something.
Yeah.
And then just the Deadpool commentaries are just funny.
Oh, those I might actually watch, because I would imagine those are.
It's because at least the ones with the first Deadpool actually has two separate commentaries, like that you get like I don't remember, but the one with Ryan Reynolds is I think they figured out was just the most popular commentary for the first one, because then the second one only has one commentary, and it's Ryan Reynolds and the two other writers, Rhett Reese and Paul Warnick, I believe. So directors, and it's low key one of my least favorite things about streaming services, that they don't do things like commentaries. You have to like buy either a physical edition, or like some digital copies like come with that. Like I know I can listen to the commentary on Microsoft's their movies and TV, or whatever they call it, and Apple TV. Prime does the commentaries, but I don't think Google does it. As they might, but I don't know. Either way, I love physical copies for that. And it's why I will buy Deadpool 3. It's kind of why I'm waiting for Deadpool. Like, again, I think I said this last week, where I was like, I will be torn whether to buy the digital version of Deadpool and Wolverine, or to wait the extra couple weeks to get the physical and digital at the same time.
Yeah.
Because normally there's a couple weeks difference.
That's how they get you.
It's how they get me. I'm just gonna press this, because you're doing something that normally I shouldn't say normally I do, but like I'm not even doing, because I just don't have the time or focus.
And it was on a whim. because one of my coworkers was just walking around and he walked up to us and he's like, "Do you want to join my fantasy football league?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? YOLO."
I know sports.
I don't know. I know the sports ball thing. I mean, I've watched football.
You're your
I mean-
mother's son. You should know at least some professional sports. The
Oh.
quality of the professional sports always up for debate, but you know.
We did finally win the World Series. Took us like over 100 years, but we did it.
Yep.
Hey, and for the record, I am not a fair weather fan because
No, you are not.
there's no fair weather with the Bears or the Cubs.
Yep.
And that's kind of why I haven't been really watching the NFL is because it's not
mediocre.
been, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I might watch the Super Bowl, but that's about. Actually, I don't even think I watched the last one because I really didn't care about either team. I was like,
Well, you watched it
Not
because
true.
I was with you.
we watched it because of
The halftime show, right?
Well, no, wasn't the 40? What are
It
the
was the 49ers. Yeah, it was Purdy.
Yeah, Purdy. That's really why we watched. Well, why I watched it. So, and I mean, it's entertaining and it's an excuse to hang out with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, on a whim, I was like, you know what? Sure, I suppose I've got enough brain space to, try a fantasy football league and actually pay attention to everything that's going on. And I don't know that I'll watch all of the games per se. I mean, I'm sure I'll use the app and just, do the play-by-play and
Yeah.
keep track of things. But football has never been high on the list of my go-to sports. I'm one of those weird people that watches the weird sports that supposedly nobody likes to watch. Like I will actually sit and watch baseball on TV. Apparently nobody likes to watch baseball on TV. I enjoy watching tennis. Apparently nobody likes watching tennis either.
My uncle Scott likes watching live tennis, so I tolerate it a lot more than like say live baseball on TV, which live baseball on TV is I got nothing against it, but that's prime nap time, kind of like live golf.
And I grew up watching. I shouldn't say watching. I grew up napping through live golf because anybody who knows my father knows avid golfer. Every year PGA Tour was on. That was what was on. Usually just in the background. He'd sit and watch it. But yeah, lots of naps to golf. And I absorbed enough about golf to actually be fluent in golf.
Knowledgeable, yeah.
So, just 'cause
You're
we were
saying that you listen to it, yeah. You're saturated.
Yeah. we were saturated with it, which is fine. I mean, it's a fine sport.
My dad loves golf.
And I play a little bit. I'm okay. I would be better if I actually played, but I don't enjoy it enough to go out and play.
It is one of the things that I've always wanted to do but never gotten the opportunity. Like my dad would go golfing with his friends, etc. Like when I was growing up, and I kind of always wanted to go with and never got the opportunity. And then dad goes golfing every once in a while now, but it's not a big thing. And like, it's one of those things I've always wanted to do, but like at this point in time, like I need a reason.
Yeah.
Like if I ever, I don't know, if I had a significant other that liked golfing, right? Like, all right, I'll take up golfing. But
Yeah.
like, I'd still like to do it, but I don't have any major reasons to do it, you know?
Yeah. I'm with you there.
And by the way, in case
But-
you're curious, because I forgot who was the headliner of last year's Super Bowl halftime show, it was Usher.
Oh yeah, I don't think I watched the halftime show because
You were talking to you and Stacy were ideating set props, that little
Oh
rotational thing.
yeah. I remember that. Yep. Yeah, we were being nerdy about theater stuff actually. Um yeah, I'm not Usher's okay.
But to bring it back on topic of fantasy football, I will say one thing that fantasy football does is it does make the NFL more interesting to watch because kind of you kind of care a little
Yeah.
bit. You don't strike me as the type that's gonna be like suddenly doing multi-view on YouTube TV, like going, "Oh, this guy's about to score. Oh,
No.
I need you to get 5 yards. Get 5 yards. Fudge! She got 3.5." You know, you're not
No.
that type of guy. But like, there is something to the whole like, you find yourself a little more invested, at least,
Yeah.
at least at a basic level. I think you will.
Yeah. And I've done leagues before, way back when. Uh but it's been a good 7+ years since I've done a fantasy football league. Because usually, I mean, I won't go out and find one, but if someone walks up and is like, "Hey, you want to join?" Yeah, sure. I
Yeah.
suppose could be fun. Who knows? Something to
Um,
do.
Davey, we, I mean, I'm sure he still does it, but like I generally, I would always start the season off well, like paying attention. Then towards the last half, like the back half of the season, I'd just be like, good enough. And
Yeah.
like, you know, at one point I was in a league where like we were playing for money, and it was like, I won't do that again because like I had it was, and on some levels it's worth it, but on another level, like you're just kind of like I just kind of remember going, I can't, I don't know how to describe it. Like on a social level, it was worth it, but like on a purely financial level, I was like, I'm just throwing money down the tube for no damn good reason.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's not too much, yeah,
It was
it's
$20 to get in, basically. Like we were doing $20 in, and then split it up amongst like the top three. So like
that's not.
it wasn't bad. Like I would do it again,
Yeah.
but I would a want to know everyone more in the league because like part of the thing is if I only know like two people, like I'm only motivated to win 2 out of like 8 weeks, right? It's like, oh, I want to beat this person. I want to beat this person that I know, right? The one I was most active was when we had like eight. There's a total of 8 of us, and like I think I knew nearly everyone except for like one person, and I was like, yeah, because I want to prove that I can beat all these people by my superior brain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there's so much. Yeah. I mean, there's so much to keep track of, and so much that can change in a day because I mean, you're depending on actual human beings
You have
to.
to keep track of their injuries.
Yeah.
Like
It's D&D for jocks is what it is.
100%.
Um, but yeah, so that's what I'm doing this season. And I just checked our draft is on Monday, so I should actually probably look at
Figure out what
stuff.
you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you never want to auto draft. That is one of the like core tenets is never let the system draft for you unless you like paid.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why Markiplier hasn't done that yet, but you know, maybe we just gave him an idea. You're welcome, Mark.
Yeah. I don't know that he cares enough about sports ball to do it though.
I mean, he has Go My Favorite Sports Team. Maybe yeah, his friend's Tyler. Yeah, maybe his friend Tyler can drag him into it and be like, learn,
Yeah.
learn or get pain,
Get good.
get good, scrub. Let me.
Damn.
I don't really want. I could talk about topic 3, but I don't really care. Other than like I heard this news story on, I think it was the WAN show. They were talking about it, and it just kind of blew my mind. It's like, what?
Yeah, I read the article. I had no idea this ever happened, and I was like, okay, so that was a thing. And honestly, I'm not surprised.
No, but at the same time, you just can't go. It's yeah. The only thing I could do to really give it any sort of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Respect, or I don't know, would be to just read it, but it's just like, yeah, I
Yeah.
it just blows my like. I'm trying. There's no way to describe this other than someone who. I'll just read the title. Report says well-known video game accessibility advocate may not have actually existed. Like, over multiple years.
Yeah. I mean, I will say it's potentially a very sad take on a pseudonym. Because he's essentially. Yeah, because, I mean, pseudonyms and, like, personas are a thing, but this was different, and so the fact that somebody may not have existed, okay, but the way it was done was definitely very interesting, and yeah, so I don't know. I didn't dig much deeper than the article that you sent me because honestly,
You've been busy.
Yeah. And I don't know that it's really going to have a huge impact on my life.
Yeah, right.
Because I didn't even know about it until.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, same. I didn't know about it either until I heard the story, and I just went, "Huh?"
Yeah.
So
okay. I mean, if that's. Yeah. I mean, that's. If what I gleaned from it is any part true, I mean, it's. I get why he might have done it, and it's. I mean, it's sad, and I feel bad.
yeah,
But I don't. It didn't sound like he did any actual damage.
I mean that's true.
Um,
Although you never know, I suppose. But you're right.
yeah, I mean, I guess there's a lot of finer details that we're not gonna get. And so, I mean, in terms of like actual like interactions with specific people but I mean, apparently they were naming awards after this advocate,
Yep.
which which means even if he was pretending to be this person, he was still doing good things.
It's true.
It's a very gray area.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, he is not being. It's
Not exactly forthcoming.
Yeah.
Most
and
honest, yeah.
You're pretending to be something that you're not. For whatever reason, if it's clout, if it's some kind of monetary gain, or I think it was the vibe I got from it was attention to fill a hole.
Probably, yeah. That makes most sense realistically.
So it is what it is. And it's, I mean, and that goes to say, be careful who you talk to on the internet. or
I mean,
what you read on the internet. Not everything's true on the internet, contrary to popular belief.
It's a good moral to just like
Do your research.
please do your research. For the love of all things holy, please do your research. Yep.
Yeah. Don't trust everything you read on the internet. Because
Not everything is true.
even Joe Schmo can edit Wikipedia and put whatever they want on there.
Yep. Yeah. I apologize for yawning. Once again, it's been a long day, but I guess we mostly covered everything.
And I think we've been on for
I
hour
mean,
and a
we've
half?
been on for about 2 hours now, so, but you've probably, has this call, I'm not looking at Discord, so you might know how long this call's been more than me.
This call's been about an hour. And it was
Okay.
about a half. Oh yeah, about 2 hours. I missed a half an hour in there because
Weather?
I haven't gotten an email from Mid-American. Like, I have no idea why it was out for 20 minutes. And I probably will never know.
Probably will never know. Could be aliens for all we know.
Yeah, could be aliens. There could be some cooked squirrel somewhere in town.
Could be a cooked bird.
Could be a cooked bird.
So,
Who knows?
who knows?
Who knows?
But as I try to gather myself here, yeah, so that really does kind of cover everything. We don't have much left to talk about. I guess, once again, a reminder that next week is going to be a pre-recorded episode that we'll be hopefully recording this Sunday. It dawned on me that because this weekend is Labor Day, I actually have my son I knew I had my son this whole weekend, but then I finally put 2 and 2 together is a better way to put it. And I went, oh, well, I guess I'm going to see if he can't stay the night with Grandma and Grandpa, but if he doesn't, it's fine. I was going to say he's heard worse, but I don't think he's actually heard worse, but,
Yeah. Are you reading it as I type it?
Yep, I'm reading. Like, he's typing something. I'm not going to say it out loud because it literally starts with "not for stream ears" and boop. Yeah.
Very small. We'll see. My weekend's up in the air, so we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, and I'm gonna try. I kind of had this idea, and I forgot to message my parents. I still have the chance to be like, hey, how do you feel about Dez spending the night on Sunday night? Because I have him on Monday. So, and I am 99% sure I'm gonna be working on Monday. So, like, if he stays over there at the night, then but. So we'll see. Hopefully we record on Sunday. We'll see what happens. So either way, I'm sure we'll make something work.
Something will happen.
Something will happen one way or another.
Figure it out. We'll do what we do.
And speaking of doing what we do, he did the thing.
He did the thing.
We're gonna crash the plane now because that's a thing that we do. So if you guys have liked this very weird episode, I'm definitely going to have to rename it to, instead of What You've Been Doing, to be like a weird one.
Right.
So if you guys enjoyed the little bits of solo podcasting moments, for as awkward as they were, whether it was me trying to hold my own for like 20 minutes or Anthony holding his own for 5 minutes while I went, oh crap, my car windows are open. Make sure you... Whoop.
The joys of a live stream. You never know what's going to happen.
Truly. Truly the joys of a live stream where stuff can go sideways and you just kind of have to deal with it. But again, I forgot where I was going completely.
Crashing the plane.
Well, I mean, yes, we're crashing the plane. So, if you have liked any part of this, please make sure you like this video, because we just appreciate it. It validates us. It makes us feel better about our life choices. And we want you to subscribe to the channel because we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming out soon. I'm getting myself used to waking up early for getting my son to school. Because he has to be at school at like 7:40, which means we're leaving here like 7:20, which means I'm waking up at like 6:30-ish. I really should be waking up a little bit before. So, like, I'm getting used to that, and then I think I'm going to try to get myself waking up to a little bit even earlier to do healthy things, like Ring Fit Adventure and planking and push-ups and basic exercise stuff, because I don't want to pay for a gym membership, yo. But so we got stuff like that. We've got Lego stuff coming up. We've got gameplay video. I still need to edit. Emily is away. In theory, Anthony at some point is going to do 7 Days to Die.
Yeah, in theory.
He's also busy with other stuff, so he's allowed to focus on those things.
I do get reminded. One of my coworkers, he and I have played on a 7 Days to Die server before, and he plays, and so there's a almost daily reminder that I should do that.
There's that, and then I know Jack just recently tweeted, or maybe it was a community post on YouTube, where he was like, "Do you guys want to see me do solo 7 Days to Die stuff and edit it down?" And I just kind of went, "Anthony, do it! Get on the 7 Days to Die hype train. You can do it.
Do it."
Because I'm going to continue to struggle through Elden Ring when I can on stream. So, if you missed it, I just streamed last Friday. I probably won't be able to do it till next Friday, but I beat a boss last week. Yay!
Yay!
Literally beat it in like the second to last 20 minutes of the stream. So if you really want to, you can just like go boop and find the spot where it's like, oh, I think he's about to win. Anyway, please like our videos, subscribe to the channel, because we got a whole bunch of stuff coming out in due time here, especially as work kind of becomes a little, I won't say easier because it still kicks my butt, but as it becomes a little more like what I'm wired to do. So I will be in theory, I'll be less mentally exhausted. In theory.
A podcast theory.
Thanks for watching. I guess on that note, we're just going to do what we do. You can go do you. And we'll see you guys the next time that we upload or stream. So until then, guys.